Hello, this is a Nosebleed Perspective. It is Thursday, November 5th, 2020. A couple days after potentially the biggest day in American history, someday that could have left a stamp on U.S. history for generations to come. The trade deadline day, of course. Obviously, it was super underwhelming. Nothing really happened. There was a couple moves that we'll hit on. But ultimately, we were let down, and, shout out to the NFL for that. And real quick, shout out to the MLB and Mr. Rob Manfred, who just a big fat stooge who decided to host the Golden Globe Awards. Or not the Golden Globe, you get it, the Golden Glove Award. Yeah, whatever. They host that on Election Day, which is a wild move. I bet they had all of 2 or 3 viewers. So, I just don't understand where they were going with that. Like, MLB needs all the help they can get. I'm not sure why they put the Golden Glove Awards on the same day as
if they got 3 people, they beat all MLB expectations.
Yeah,
exactly. And if you're wondering, why we don't talk about baseball on this show a lot, it's just like, come on.
Yeah,
this is the one.
Rob Manfred's already proving to be a douche. I'm not a Mets fan, but he's blocking the sale of the Mets because he just doesn't think the guy that's trying to buy him is going to do enough for New York City, as if that's what owning a baseball team is about. So I'm not surprised by this move.
It's just hilarious. It's a hilarious thought. But real quick, on the positive side, we are in the middle of the season. After 117 games and half the season in the books, out of those games, Cheech, Gibby, and Logs are exactly tied in our pick'ems against the spread. It's just, and it's not like we've picked the same team every game, or if you've watched the pre-games, we've had disagreements, and we've only picked the same team 38 times out of those 117 games. So that's a big shout out to us. We are 61-56, so beating Vegas. So obviously tune in if you want to make some money. Shout out to Cheech for collecting those stats for me. I'm sure that wasn't terribly easy. But yeah, joined today. Got all 3 of the OGs with the Nosebleed crew here, and we're also joined by Mr. Bouvy, big friend of the show. Been coming on a lot lately. Hopefully, you guys liked his guest appearances. He's decked out in one of the toughest Steeler jackets I have ever seen in my life. So, congrats on that. You got any just initial thoughts, real quick, for the show for Cheech and Gibby at all?
Oh yes, I do. I wear my 6-time champion Steelers jacket. You guys may be wondering, Ben, why are you wearing a jacket in your house in Virginia? It's obvious. It's because it's cold on the top of the mountain, boys. That's why. When you're on the top of the mountain, king of the mountain, you need a jacket, you need a crown. But my king doesn't wear a crown. He wears a damn steel. Now let's get down to brass tacks. The audacity of you two. The audacity to say the Cleveland Browns would finish ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, if I could just get like a quick reaction. You guys are a sports podcast. How's it feel to be the dumbest guys in the room?
Jesus.
All right. All I have to say is the season isn't over yet, and now you guys have a Jets player. He might be bringing some over some of that Adam Gazeism. I don't know what's going to happen. So you guys might go from 7-0, 8-0 to 8-8. We don't know what's going to happen now that you got a Jets player.
Gazeism, that's a cool word.
And we had to pick. It's our first year with this, and we had to pick each team's record and where we thought they were going to go. And the Steelers had a lot of question marks. Was I wrong? Yeah, it seems like it. But, when you look on paper, the Browns are just the exact opposite of the New England Patriots. They have everything on paper that should be good. They're the Cleveland Browns. And the New England Patriots, literally, if you looked at their roster, were terrible. And everyone thought they would make the playoffs because of Bill Belichick. So it was a bad prediction. It's not my worst one, unfortunately. So I'll take that, and I deserve that. But I still stand by the Browns being a playoff team.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to look that way. They have won, most of their games. I'll say that. But I still, last week, I'd say a week from today, last week, I was more worried about the Browns making Super Bowl. The playoffs. God, don't want to put those two in the same sentence. But I really like what the Colts are doing down there in Indianapolis. Hopefully they can come and knock them out, and the Titans and and Colts can come out of that division. And we don't know exactly what will happen because they are thinking about spreading out the playoffs to 16 teams. So that'll be an additional team. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But regardless, Browns have a chance to make playoffs. So
Yeah.
It's a fight in the AFC North right now. It's a fight. So we don't know what's going to happen out there. I'm not going to talk. The Steelers are doing great. Happy for you. I'm glad that they're the only undefeated team in the NFL right now. But those Cleveland Browns, man, they still have some weapons. They can still do something this season.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Real
we can. Okay, go for it.
One thing. When I first came on here, I said OBJ would not be on that team.
You did.
And
you were right.
Not in the same fashion. Here I am on the team.
If you would have bet that, you win. Like there's it doesn't matter how he's not on the team.
It's probably because Baker threw an atrocious pass and set him up for failure. He had to go make a tackle.
Don't talk about the Week 7 AFC Player of the Week like that.
Oh yeah, sorry.
5 touchdowns.
He did tear apart the Bengals. He's tore apart the Bengals twice this year. I'll give him that. All right. So we got some topics we'll hit on. We'll start on your team over there, Ben. Since you're all decked out in the gear, we got the Heinz Field in the background of this video. So huge game last week, Ravens Steelers. Let's talk about that. Obviously, Steelers come out with the win. They kind of got beat up a little bit in that first half. Besides the pick six that obviously started the game off, but drive after drive, they ended up being the team came out on top. That last drive, it looked like the Ravens were for sure going to just run the ball down your fucking throat and score. But Lamar Jackson, we can all talk about him too. We can all have a little segment. For me personally, I've been trying to back the dude for a long time now, and I gotta say, he's dead to me right now. Right now, in November, beginning of November, he's dead to me. I just like the dude. I don't know if it's play calling. We could talk about the 4th and short where they're running the quarterback draw when they have the best defensive line in the Steelers, and then everyone knows they're running that play. Why are we throwing Lamar in there? His lanky body. Not sure. What are your thoughts overall in that game, and what are your thoughts on Lamar Jackson?
So how about the Ravens coming out and being bold enough to run the ball on the Pittsburgh Steelers? Not just run it, but in dominant fashion.
Yeah.
What they failed to realize is at some point, the hammer was going to come down. You don't go and test the best defense in the NFL at what they pride themselves on doing. And then you try to run the ball on a 4th down to ice the game. I'm sorry, friend. It's not going to happen. You're not Derrick Henry, and he got stuffed in a similar situation. When it comes down to it, the Ravens, great team. Lamar, he's still, in my opinion, the best quarterback in that division. But
Joey Burrow.
He is not a winner.
No.
He almost has the Peyton syndrome. Peyton was awful. People fail to realize Peyton was awful early in his career until he got over the hump and started winning. They had 2 number 1 overall seeds in the playoffs in a row where they bounced in the first round. I think he's suffering from that same kind of career trajectory. MVP early on in his career. A lot of people think really highly of him because he beat a couple expectations where everybody thought he was going to be nothing but a running quarterback. I just see him being maybe 1 or 2 mistakes off being a winner in big games. And that comes with time because he played for, and I hate to say it because I go there and, you're a Louisville guy too. He went to a program that doesn't win. That's what it comes down. That's not a storied program that wins big games. They're just not. So that's something that comes in time. You know what I mean? And I just feel like while I'm not totally sold on Lamar being a winner yet, he's still easily the best defense or best quarterback in that division because I stand by everything I said about Ben Roethlisberger. He's on his way out of the league. He looks terrible. I mean, he really does. He looks terrible. His numbers are not that great. He makes mistakes in really bad situations, and he's been getting bailed out by the defense. Now, he played very good in that second half, and I'll give him credit for that. but that first half was like the first worst half of his entire career. So
Yeah, I mean, it was bad too. I mean, without that pick six, like I said, that game is like irrelevant. Like in that first half for the Steelers, they look bad, and it just seemed like everyone knew the Steelers were going to win that game going into that once the second half started, even though they had such a shitty first half. And the Ravens just kept running the ball, and they just tried and tried and tried. And that play call was bad. Oh, Big Ben though, he's out there playing backyard football though. I'll give him that. He knows how to score in the red zone, as opposed to that Raven team. They had a couple chances at the end. I think the final fourth quarter drives, they had the opportunity to win the game, and they couldn't do it. So
yeah, and that's because while everybody thought the Steelers were going to be chasing Lamar, instead they were chasing greatness. That's what they do.
For the listeners here, he just pulled his tough Steelers jacket down and has a shirt that says "Chase Greatness." So
great when you wear the black and gold. Now he's a great player. He's going to be great, and he's going to win a lot of games for the Baltimore Ravens. But this is the Steelers' year. Tom Brady is no longer in the AFC. His shadow is no longer cast over the three rivers that run through the city. The Steelers are legitimate Super Bowl contenders, and they are a team that is built to beat any team in the AFC.
How do you feel about that, Gibby?
I mean,
that's a direct shot at you because my team's terrible. So.
It is staring right at your square.
I hope it happens. I do. I would rather the Chiefs play Steelers than anyone else. I think it'd be a good game. It's going to come down to the D-line versus the Chiefs O-line. I think that's really what it comes down to. If the Chiefs offense can do what they want to do in that game, I don't know if Big Ben can keep up. But if TJ Watt and the boys can get after Patty Mahomes, who loves pressure, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited for it. The only thing I'd have to say is that the Chiefs walked all over the Ravens, and it wasn't even a ball game. But, it's kind of tough to tell whenever the Steelers – it's a divisional rival, so you never know. I mean, the Chiefs lost to the Raiders, so we know how them games go. But I think there's two ways you can look at the Steelers-Ravens game. If you're a Ravens fan, you can say, hey, if we don't have 4 turnovers from Lamar, we win that game. But if you're a Steelers or you're looking negative towards the Ravens, I think if the Ravens can't beat the Steelers after a bye, after the Steelers just played a tough game against the Titans, when can the Ravens beat the Steelers?
Exactly.
Good point.
Yeah, in that pregame show, I was saying to Logs how that's basically this was a taste of Lamar in the playoffs before. Like this game was gonna be what we're gonna see from Lamar in the playoffs, and because we've already seen Lamar in the playoffs and it's not great, and Lamar showed us again this weekend that he's not ready for those big games.
And I think he just tries to take the game. Obviously, you don't know what play call's coming in, but as a viewer, he's going to try to run and get a couple yards to win the game. But he's just, like you mentioned, his age. He's just so young. Like, his mentality is, I need to go win this game. Like, he doesn't. I don't know if it's the trust. I don't know if it's the lack of weapons on the outside. But either way, all y'all are right. I mean, he's just not showing up in these big games. So we'll see how it plays out. Because they're going to be in the playoffs. But so are the Steelers.
How do you say it's not the lack of weapons, though, when Willie Snead is like your top guy?
Yeah, I mean,
I thought because the league. Even though he plays in the division, until I see him catch a ball, I think he's out of the league because he's awful.
Yeah,
I mean, I think last year they built the team around Lamar. I mean, they had 3 solid tight ends. Like, that's what they needed because they knew they couldn't hit the 15 to 25-yard passes from Lamar for wide receivers, so they would rather spend capital on O-line, which their left tackle's gone. I mean, that's huge. That's massive. I mean, he is a stud, and they just paid him, $100 million? Like, I know Lamar's a running quarterback, but he still needs that left side protected.
Yeah, that was huge. It's something that people are not talking about, too.
Yeah.
He had one of those – I don't know if you guys were watching it. Like, he had a Dak thing happen. It was bad. Like, it was a snap.
It was real bad.
Yeah, so he's done, and he was I think he got paid like literally 2 days before that. So that's tough.
Dak should have learned from him.
You already lose Marshall Yonda over there at the guard position too. So
you don't like seeing stuff like that happen, especially I don't like seeing injuries in the division, even though I have called, and this might be the catalyst for what I said was going to happen. I do think Lamar is going to get hurt this year. I think the lack of weapons putting the game more on his shoulders, and now you look at that O-line that is absolutely just abysmal now. It's not great. It's not a great O-line anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how he hasn't been injured already. You've seen the way he plays, the way he just lowers his head and throws him. He's not like a huge dude. He's put on some weight, but I don't know how he's not dead already. All right. Speaking of dead, we'll talk about the San Francisco 49ers for a minute. So they lose George Kittle for 8 weeks. I mean, the team is dead. I mean, this is like worse than the Eagles last year and the Eagles this year. They lose George Kittle for 8 weeks, it says. So that's practically week 16, 17, if they do sneak into the playoffs, which is looking sketchy right now. We'll talk about that. Maybe he's back for that. And Jimmy G, it sounds like he's done for – I don't know. There's multiple reports. It sounds like he's done for the season, though. I don't think he's going to come back and play for the 49ers this year. Possibly not ever again. But a lot of injuries. Obviously, you got Mostert on IR. Deebo Samuel's been out. He came in for a couple games, did his thing, and he's done for a little bit right now. Can Coach Shanahan push his broken team to the playoffs? Because right now, where are they sitting, Gibby? Like right outside the bubble, I forget.
Yeah, they're right behind the Bears. They're like, I guess, 8.
Yeah,
9.
something like that. So do you all think in that tough division, Gibby, go ahead and lead us off, they can make the playoffs with the tough division and all the teams? You got the Bears and the Rams and either the fucking Saints or the Bucs, who are going to be right there too. So
and the Cards. So, but I think the moment that they sold their linebacker to the Saints for Kiko Alonso, who's probably not playing this year, who's pretty much out, I think that was kind of the message to the team that, hey, we're moving on. Where their salary cap issues next year are awful, and if they cut or trade Jimmy G, they only have $2 million in dead cap next year and $1 million the year after that. That is absolutely nothing in the NFL. Every team has at least $5 million in dead cap. So it seems like the contract's set up to move on from Jimmy G. I mean, Mullins, I mean, he's okay, but, Hasty was not a good running back in the Big 12 last year for Baylor. And if you're not a good running back in the Big 12, how are you going to be a good running back in the NFL? I hope Mostert comes back. He's fun to watch. It's cool to see a special teams guy come back and do it. But I think the 49ers have just got to kind of move on.
Cheech, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, no, they're in a real tough boat, especially like everybody thought they were going to be the NFC's Super Bowl contender. This season has just been absolutely detrimental. I do still think that Kyle Shanahan's going to lead this team into the playoffs. I don't think that they're gonna play more than one game in those playoffs. They're definitely just going to have that wild card game. But just the uncertainty in the NFC West right now, the Packers just lost to the Vikings. We don't know what we're going to get out of the Rams. The Bears might make it, they might not. There's a lot of teams that are in that fluctuating bubble of what are they going to bring every Sunday. And I think that the 49ers, even though they just lost Alexander and they got all these injuries, I think that they're still going to make it in there. They're still going to I think they're going to get that last wild card spot. Even
with your Arizona Cardinals winning 10 games?
Even with the Cardinals winning 10 games, man, because the Rams aren't going to make the playoffs after losing the Dolphins.
Hey, man. Like I said, I think I talked to you. I'm pretty sure USC put some Rams jerseys on and flew to Miami and played that game. I don't know what happened. They're trying to get a leg up before Pac-12 kicks off next week, whatever it is. So, that was embarrassing. The Rams do not look good. They've had a couple moments, and I'd say maybe one moment on that Monday Night Football game where they look good. That's about it. We beat the NFC East and the Bears. That's it. So a little worried about us going forward, but that's okay. I think it's going to prep us from when these contracts come up and fuck us. So this is what I need to get used to over the next few years. But go ahead, Bouvy. You got any thoughts on San Francisco?
Yeah, I guess if I absolutely have to agree with one of these guys, it's going to be Cheech. If there's any coach that can will his team into the playoffs, I do believe the 49ers have that guy. Listen, Nick Mullins ain't that bad. He's not that bad. He's not a bad quarterback. And I think he's good enough to get them in the playoffs. My question is, why would you want to? If you're John Lynch, why are you not telling Shanahan, hey, you're the guy. Your job is secure. Tank. Just tank. There's nothing wrong with tanking in sports. I'm a big believer in tanking. I think it's part of building a great franchise. So unless you're the Jets or Browns, I mean, they do it every year and they just can't seem to figure it out.
Yep.
Jaguars.
If you're gonna be bad for a reason. Be bad to get better. And
Cheers to that.
Be bad to get better. Like next year, I hope the Steelers tank. I hope they tank so they can get a decent quarterback and do the train to roll. Is it going to happen? Probably not, because the Steelers are just always the great. But I do think that team, John Lynch, should sit down with all the brass and go, just foreclose on this season, look towards next year, tank for a team that can future with a solid core.
It's got to be hard though, coming off a Super Bowl appearance. Like it's just like you got that taste in your mouth, and you're like, how do you tank after that? And they've already won 4 games. I just don't know if you they're going to stumble across, even if they just completely suck. They're going to stumble across another victory or two. They're probably going to beat the Rams again. So, they're going to get a few more wins, and they're going to be right in that dead area in the draft where what do we get? And they signed, who's the dude, Trent Williams, or one of the Trent dudes at tackle over there already. So I don't know. I think they win about 8 games and they miss the playoffs 7 games maybe. So,
well, like you were saying, if Jimmy G's not the guy, because you can't win without a quarterback. The NFL is not built like that anymore. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't win. If Jimmy G's not your guy, you need to find your guy. And you don't find him in the 4th and 5th round. You don't find him really at the end of the draft. Lamar Jackson doesn't come around every year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see them tanking like that. They're going to win some games. I'm trying to think if there's any free agent quarterbacks coming up. I mean, hey, Dak Prescott's going to go play in San Francisco, win a Super Bowl next year.
What a hot take.
I would love to go to San Francisco because I think he would be amazing in that offense.
Perfect. He'd be perfect.
He would fit in. Like he's a smart quarterback. He is, whether you like Dak or not. He's pretty smart. He's played with a good running game before. He knows what it's like to win. I mean, well, go 8-8 at least, and he's played a playoff game or 2. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with the 49ers. Anyway, sticking with the NFC, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They played Monday Night Football against the Giants, and I was pretty adamant, hammered that minus 12.5, and Cheech and Gibby took that from me. So congrats on that, you guys. But they did not look good. So Danny Dimes, who's been, I still don't know what to think of Daniel Jones, because I feel like the issues that he has can be solved, but they just have not been close to becoming solved. And then he does something great. He drops a dime. That's why he plays, and we call him Danny Dimes. But I mean, he dropped a perfect ball to Golden Tate in the back of the end zone. They go for 2, and they're a pass interference call away from winning that, or going to take it to overtime, I believe. Yep. How far do you all think, Ben, if you want to lead this off, do you think that the Bucs can go after seeing them play? They've looked good at times, but they've also looked pretty damn bad at times too. What do you think?
I think it's the NFL, and even the best team can struggle against a bad team. And I do think, who else is in the NFC? Seattle with no defense? I'm calling it right now. Tom Brady's taking his old ass back to the Super Bowl. He's going back to the Super Bowl. He's about to get Antonio Brown on that offense.
Oh, yeah, you are a big AP guy, huh?
He's amazing, and they have chemistry.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that is a Super Bowl team. That is a Super Bowl team. I don't believe in the Seahawks defense. I believe in Russell Wilson. I don't believe in that defense. Tampa Bay, I look at the NFC, I look at the field, and nothing inspires confidence. I believe in Tom Brady, because if he was a winner with that awful Patriots team, he can be a winner with this awesome Buccaneers team. I think Super Bowl bound.
Hey, I'd like to agree with you, but I don't know about Super Bowl. Gibby, I feel like you have some opposing thoughts on that. So what's your take?
I'm just not a Tom Brady believer still. I just haven't seen I haven't been like, oh man, this guy's balling out. He's doing everything. He's old, so he's going to do the whole check down thing. I don't think Rojo and Leonard Fournette can slam the rock like that. I don't think they can take check downs and bring them to the house. I mean, Tom Brady last year threw a pick six to end this playoff run. I understand he won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, so I'm about to say something stupid. But if D Ford doesn't line off offsides, he has a pick six to end that playoff run as well. I just don't see yes, if he has to get home playoff games in Tampa Bay in warm weather. I don't know. I mean, we're going to find out a lot this weekend, but I'm not a believer in the Bucs. I'm a bigger believer in the Seahawks. I think that defense gets better as the season goes on. Do they have the ballers? No, but I still like them better than the Bucs. Could just be hate. I don't know, but I don't believe in the Bucs.
You think they need to have warm games in Tampa Bay for him to be successful? Is that what you, sorry?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't think he can go to Green Bay. I don't think he can go to Green Bay if Green Bay keeps winning. Now they can't stop the run. That's Green Bay's thing. They cannot stop the run. But
hold up. Are you telling me?
Here we go. New England. Yes.
Foxborough?
Yes. The Foxborough guy.
Cold as hell.
The Foxborough guy.
Are you serious right now? His
all
whole advantage was through blizzards.
He's
Come on.
44.
Yeah, he's got 20 years of experience playing in snow. I don't agree with the cold weather theory at all. That is, he's not 65 where his joints are freezing when he steps outside.
TB12 plan, man. Come on.
I don't agree that the Bucs are a Super Bowl team, but I also don't agree that Tom Brady can't play in cold weather. Honestly. The Seahawks haven't had Jamal Adams for a couple weeks, who we all know is a heavy hitter on defense. So he's gonna bring a lot back whenever he's healthy again. And then also the Packers offense just looks so dynamic that I know the Bucs beat the dog shit out of the Packers already this season. But I think when they face each other again in the NFC Championship game, that's when we're gonna see Aaron Rodgers just show Tom Brady where his casket is, dig his grave for him, and tell him to retire.
Jeez. By the way, the Packers don't make a single move at the trade deadline when they. I don't think you can go out and get one player who's going to help them stop the run. But I think they could have got maybe Rodgers somebody. I mean, Jesus Christ, man!
Hey, we're learning that Devontae Adams will probably just have 130 catches this season.
I mean, if he's covered though, if they double him or whatever the case is, if he's shut down. They face a lockdown corner. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm a little worried about the Packers, even though they were my Super Bowl team, 7 days, from a week ago.
I'm convinced the Green Bay Packers hate Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, they have to.
Yeah.
There's no way you put a man that is that talented. And I'm not some huge Rodgers fan. I don't think he's one of the best pure passers of all time, like a lot of people say. But he is a great quarterback. He is. He outdueled another in his prime, Ben Roethlisberger, great quarterback, in the Super Bowl against a very good defense. Aaron Rodgers is a phenomenal quarterback, but that team has given him nobody. His whole career, they've given him nobody, no real stud to lean on. It's a shame that they I could argue they wasted a good career. They wasted a very good career with Aaron Rodgers, not giving him what he needs. You put that man on the Pittsburgh Steelers, he wins 2, maybe 3 Super Bowls.
Man, yeah. I mean, just give him somebody. They talked about signing Will Fuller. Those the Texans have 3, I feel like, pieces that they could trade and get something for with Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks, and Will Fuller. So that was an option, and that was quickly, they were like, nah, we don't see the value. So any other thoughts on any of that?
Bruce Arians is not winning a Super Bowl.
It was funny. So Gibby hates Bruce Arians and that whole situation down there. And then the Monday Night Football pregame, they were interviewing him. I don't know if you guys saw it. And they were asking him how does AB fit in and blah blah blah. And he's like, well, we had some injuries. So because they asked, they were like, before you said you didn't want him, now you do want him. He's like, well, we had people go down, and if he wants to play here, he'll play here if he can fit in. If not, then he can leave or something like that. It was just so funny. I don't know. Gibby, you said he was a childish coach, so
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how
they probably have swimming parties and play, Marco Polo at practice and stuff. He's just a laid back, doesn't care about anything kind of guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, we'll move towards let's go back to the AFC North and the Browns. So this was a big game for my bet with Gibby. I needed the Raiders to win this game. Last week it was an absolute wind tunnel going through Cleveland. It was crazy, and they saw a field goal just go up, and it was crazy. Either way, the Raiders come out with a victory, and Josh Jacobs had a day. You guys think this is any type of are you worried now that they've taken a loss against some people will say a decent team? I still think the Raiders are not that good of a football team, in my opinion. That's just me, but that might be crazy to say since they beat the Chiefs. What are y'all's thoughts with the Browns going forward?
The Browns are a playoff team, man. I'm telling you. I've been saying it since March. The Browns are a playoff team. The Browns will be in the playoffs. I promise it. I don't know. Obviously, Baker Mayfield has proven this season so far that he can only beat really bad football teams. But and of course, the Browns also they lost Nick Chubb. They lost OBJ. OBJ might have been more of a nuisance to the team than actually a positive influence. But I still think the Browns are going to make the playoffs, man. They just there's no way that this Browns team doesn't make the playoffs. I still can't see it.
Yeah, I mean,
happened every year for 20 years. It's not hard to see the Browns out of the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
They're terrible. You stumping for the Browns, I appreciate it so much because everybody needs somebody to believe in them. It has to be you believing in the Cleveland Browns because they're awful. They're so bad. And if they do make it, the NFL literally had to change the rules. They're just so bad. They're so bad. And you know what? Only because 2020 has no business getting any worse, we can't start 2021 with the Browns in the playoffs. That's the first.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. So the Browns have 5 wins right now. They're going to have a bye. I like their coach. I do like their coach. Out of the Vikings, I mean, that offense hasn't been the same since he left. Take that, put that on Kirk Cousins, put it on the coach. Either way, it's got to do a little bit with the coach. But they're coming off a bye. They're going to get better. They got the Texans, the Eagles, the Jags, the Giants, and the Jets. That's 5 games. They win 3 of those. 3 of those.
See, I would almost disagree. I think the Eagles beat them. I know it's correct. I think the Eagles beat them.
That's fine.
The Jaguars,
the Jets.
The Jaguars have a chance to beat them because the Jaguars suck. First off,
they
suck. All right, but they're going to win 1 or 2 games they do not deserve to win this year, and I feel like that's one of them. And then the Titans, they're going to lose that game. The Ravens are going to lose that game. The Giants, they could possibly beat the Giants.
No
way.
way.
The Jets, they're probably maybe beat the Jets, and they lose to the Steelers. I mean, I at 5-2, I was worried. 5-3, I'm feeling pretty good. I got to say, feeling good. Well, you guys have any more thoughts about the Browns?
Yeah,
I know
they're gonna be a 9-win team. They're gonna have 9 wins. They're gonna have 9 wins. That'll be enough to get in the playoffs.
See, I don't know.
Wins from the NFC East, they couldn't get to 9 wins. They're awful. The Browns suck.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So we just kind of touched on this, but which 3 teams get into those AFC wildcard spots? So obviously, Gibby, you want to start us off? You got the Browns right there. Who are the other 2 that fill those spots?
So I don't see anyone out of the AFC West getting it. I mean, the AFC North, you got to put the Ravens or the Steelers, whoever did that. So we're going to go with the Ravens. AFC South, you could put the Colts in there. And then, I think you got the Finns over there on the other side being maybe a wild card out there. I'm a big B-Flow guy. So I'm going to go Ravens, Browns, of course, the last spot. And then
Finns?
Titans or Finns. I'm going to go Finns.
Jeez.
Or Colts or Finns. I'm going to go Finns over Colts.
So no Titans?
No, Titans win the division.
Okay. I'll make sure. That's fair. Cheech, you got?
Yeah. No, the Finns are close, but I think that they're not going to get it. I think the Colts are going to take the South, and it's going to be the Browns, Ravens, and the Titans in those wild card spots.
Jeez. All right. You got Ben.
Yeah, I'm going Ravens, Raiders, Colts. I do think Raiders. I think John Gruden is starting to adapt to the NFL as it is now, not as it was 15 years ago. You can see it in the way he is calling games. I do think that team is credit for because it's young in certain spots, and I think Carr is progressing into being a competent quarterback in the NFL. Now, the Colts, while they have the lead right now, I do believe Phillip Rivers is a million years old, and carrying those kids around all day is not good for football. So I do think they eventually flounder late in the year, and the Titans edge them out for the division, and the Colts end up in the wild card. But the Browns, no shot. No shot.
Jeez. Yeah,
Derek Carr does have a one of the highest QBRs in the league. I saw that last week. So you're onto something there, but I don't think he's not better than Baker.
Derek Carr's contracts.
What? What?
Did you say he's not better than Baker?
Are you out right now? Are you stumping for Baker Mayfield now?
Hey,
Week 7 AFC Player of the Week.
Yeah.
Hey,
when's the last time Carr was?
he put Baker Mayfield as number 4 overall fantasy quarterback too. So he's got some work to do, but that's fun.
Nothing else to say.
Yeah, I mean the AFC West is interesting because for some reason people still. I think I talked about this on the last show. People still love the Broncos for some reason. I know. I'm with you. Like I said, they beat the Chargers. Oh God, the Chargers, man. That's a whole other topic, man. The Chargers. Anyway, I'll go back to that. But they beat the Chargers this week, and for some reason, people are like, maybe they could sneak into the playoffs, and there's just no way in hell I think that happens. I feel like we're all on the same boat on this, at least. I just wanted to throw that out there. The Raiders, they are 4-3. They have beat the Chiefs, and they beat the Browns, 2 playoff caliber teams in your all's opinion, I guess. But I think the Raiders implode at some point, and they don't get there. My teams are the Colts. For those that final 3 wild card or whatever, Titans win that division. I got the Colts, making it a tough competition for the Titans, just like last year. I think it was pretty close. The Ravens, obviously, and I'm going to go with the Finns here. I think they're on to something down there. That defense looks good. I know it may seem biased because they just beat the Rams. The Rams just kind of suck right now. I'm fed up with them right now. It's just I haven't got to the point where I'm excited to watch them this Sunday yet. Maybe like tomorrow or Friday. But I think the Dolphins could really make some noise down there. I'm not sure what I've seen from Tua is enough because he only threw the ball like 12 times or something, or he 12 completions or something like that. But I like the defense down there, and like you said, Gibbs big B flow guy. I'm a big B flow guy. So I think the Finns could make some noise. And hey, the Bills are kind of falling off right now. So that division could be interesting.
Don't even say no. There's no chance the Dolphins win the AFC East. There's 0% chance. I would
hold on. Hey, just let's watch another couple weeks. The quarterback play is obviously huge, so I can't get ahead of myself. But man, if they stuck with Fitzmagic back there, man.
Let me know at any point if you want to put a bet on this. Just any week, any week this season, if you want to put a bet on it.
Listen,
it's open.
You saying the Bills, even entertaining the fact that the Bills might lose this division, is the most Cheech thing you've ever seen. It is.
I think they're really lucky in this division. The Patriots suck. They had a chance to, and they're awful, and they almost beat the Bills last week. And they had a chance to win, but Cam Newton. Let's go to Cam Newton. All right, we all got our teams in. Mr. Cam Newton himself. First couple games, obviously, everybody was big on him, but turns out he's been a real dud. 0 touchdown passes the past few weeks. He had a chance. They did what they did. They ran the ball. They had a chance to win that game, and Duke fumbles. I mean, did you all watch that game at all? He's like the whole time he's running everywhere. That ball is just loose. And I'm like, that it has to come out at some point, and it does at the worst time. Do you all think Cam Newton first off, finishes the season as a starting quarterback, I'm going to go ahead and say yes on that just because he's Cam Newton. But do you all think that he has a future in New England at all? Go ahead. I'll let you start, Cheech. Go ahead.
No, he's not going to finish the season as a starter. And no, he does not have a future in New England. I think that eventually Bill's going to wake up, management's going to wake up, Robert Kraft's going to wake up, and they're going to say, this guy is not our guy, and maybe we should start to produce Jarrett Stidham, because they're not going to – I don't know what other quarterbacks are looking good. Maybe Justin Fields other than Trevor Lawrence, but I don't know if the Patriots are going to do bad enough to get into that situation to draft a quarterback. So I think that they just need to focus on maybe developing Jarrett Stidham a little bit so that he could be their starter next year. And if they suck next year again, then go for a quarterback in the next draft. But they already benched Cam. Cam is proving to be Scam Newton and not Cam Newton. He blinded the league the first couple of weeks. He got a couple wins in there. He was running the ball hard and he was scoring, but that's the only way that Cam Newton can score. And that's proven to be the only way the Patriots offense can score is if Cam Newton runs that ball into the end zone. So I don't think he's a starter, and I think that the Pats are just going to give up on him.
Nice. Bouvy, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do. So agree with Cheech that Cam has no future in New England, but disagree with the fact that why not let him be the starter the rest of the year? Why get Stidham all beat up on a bad team? If you think he's decent enough to be a backup, just save the miles on the tires. What I will say about Cam is, and you mentioned the football when he was running, right, holding it way out here. When he was the aggressive power back style runner he was in Carolina, I remember him being pretty good with ball control and tucking that in there like a power back. So it's weird to see the fundamentals go away.
I mean, you all did see him like just being super lackadaisical.
Bill Belichick teams, they're good at fundamentals. They win games by doing the everyday things well. That's how they've won games in his whole run there. And I think we're seeing more and more, and we talked about this last time I was on with you. Are we seeing that Tom Brady might have helped Bill Belichick a little bit more than Belichick helped Tom Brady? Are we starting to see that? Because
don't stress Gibby out too much, all right?
You down there looking like he's win a division, and you have the Patriots struggling with a former MVP quarterback that is right up what was Bill Belichick's alley in terms of taking reclamation projects and making him something. So I'm not necessarily sold that Cam's done, but he's definitely done in New England.
Cam would be a good quarterback with the team that Tom has in Tampa Bay.
I don't know. I don't know. Dude, Cam has sucked for a couple – obviously the injuries and everything. But, dude, I mean, I don't know. They don't trust him to throw the ball. Granted, he has no one to throw. Patriots, one of the biggest pickups in free agency, Isaiah Ford, new slot receiver coming in week 10, going to be starting there. Look out for that. God, trade deadline was such a dud. Same Guimont. Is it Guimont?
Guimont.
Hey, shout out, man. I think you were the winner to our –
He was, yeah. He won.
Winner of our $50 Amazon gift card or whatever it was. So that was cool. We asked a bunch of people to just all you had to do was comment your favorite beer in a comment section on multiple platforms, and we had about 3 people who did it, and he won. So, hey, congrats. He says Cam Newton will finish the season, but this is his last year in New England. Hard to disagree with that. Before you go, Gibby, you all think Stidham is just a backup, career backup, or do you all think he actually gets the reins next year? Because you got to know Bill Belichick is scouting right now. He's out there looking for a 4th-round talent somewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We've said it. Bill's thing is fundamentals and teaching fundamentals and getting everyone on the same page. He didn't have that opportunity this year. If you look at this roster, it is terrible. Like they got a 6th-round guard who's going to be the lock for that team for a while. Obviously first year and stuff, but I think he continues that path. I mean, he's literally was set up for failure. Bill is talking to the media Like that, like he is saying, and they asked him why. They said, Bill, why are you finally talking to us? And he said, because whenever I won, I didn't need to tell the fans what were going on because we were winning. I didn't need to explain myself. Now I need to let you all know, hey, we're losing because I had no money, because we went all out last year, and my quarterback threw a pick six against the Titans, and we couldn't go any further.
He didn't say that. Those are not the words.
I said that. No, I said that.
That's Gibby's quote.
General.
Gibby's-
Oh wait, that's him.
They went all out last year. They knew they were going to have to rebuild. They knew Brady wasn't going to be here in 2020. They didn't know the COVID and all that other stuff. So, but this team has $100 million next year when every other team is like $50 million over the cap. They're going to get some players for stupid cheap next year. I mean, if you can bet on the Patriots making the playoffs next year, throw some money on that one.
Yeah, for sure. Dak Prescott, another location for him. Look out. He's going to want a lot of money. I don't know if old Bill's ready to pay him that much. But, yeah, interesting points. Definitely can see them in the playoffs next year with that. He's going to make some moves. He's too smart not to make moves, and he's bought himself an eternity to coach as long as he wants with what he's done in New England. So,
yeah.
All right, let's go back to the NFC West. So we talked a little bit about it. Quiet week for Cardinals on bye, obviously, but they're still 5-2, only 2 losses. Really impressive. Good for them. Happy for them. Live here, so I like to see them do well, except for when they play the Rams. So first off, who wins this division? I think Seattle was the clear, picture when we kind of talked about it a little bit ago. But with the Rams kind of falling off last week in Miami, you got the Cards there, beat the Seahawks. Real quick, shout out to Miami Dolphins, the NFC West killers. Beat the 49ers and the Rams. Probably going to beat the Seahawks too, so look out for that. That's where you need to put your money. I'm hammering that. Whatever that comes around, Finn's covering whatever spread that is against the Seahawks. So, yeah. The Rams, if you guys want to go ahead and take this time to just, demolish the Rams, feel free. They're 1-3 versus non-NFC East teams. Can they hold the last 7 position in the NFC playoff picture? Go ahead, Gibby, please.
I think that Monday night game for them was huge. I know it's early in the season, but them and the Bears, that defense, and then, you talked about it on your Bouvy episode that your punter won the game and everything. But I mean, it's got to be the Bucs are going to be the first wild card. Cardinals will. Oh man, that's tough to say. The Cardinals will be the second wild card. And then it's a race for the Rams, Bears, and 49ers. I'm going to go Bears.
Yeah, you have to as your pick to win that division. So maybe they figure it out. I don't know.
It's tough, though. I mean, they've got Jesus, all these quarterbacks we're talking about, and they got the most expensive, worst one.
Talking about the Rams, right?
No, I'm talking about old Nick Foles.
Oh, Nick Foles. Okay,
all the quarterbacks that they could have gotten this offseason, and they went with the expensive backup. So
because in Los Angeles we have a quarterback who's really expensive and probably the worst in that division as well. So just making sure that was clear. Cheech, how do you see the NFC playoff picture off? Are the Rams going to make the playoffs? What do you think? Go ahead.
The Rams are not, and the deciding point is going to be when the Jets beat them later this season. But I think we have a $100 bet on that game, so I have to bet. Yeah, this was made back in like March and April.
This was preseason.
Yeah, but all right. So Rams are not going to make the playoffs. I think that the Cardinals will win the NFC West.
Let's go.
Wow.
Yeah, the Cardinals are going to win the NFC West. The Seahawks are going to have the number 1 wild card. The 49ers are going to have the number 3 wild card. I'm going to say the Bucs are going to be sandwiched in between there. The Saints are going to win that South. And, that's how I'm going with the NFC.
We both think the NFC South winner is going to be the Saints.
Yes.
Okay. Big game this weekend. We'll talk about that next.
Big.
But, Bouvy, who you got with the NFC playoff picture, and what are your thoughts on the Rams?
So I think eventually Sean McVay is going to wake up and remember how to call plays.
That's bad.
That's going to happen. Maybe we'll see. Or maybe Todd Gurley was just that good that year that it elevated that whole offense.
That O-line was that good that year. I tell you that.
Now let's just talk about the NFC. And I kind of talked about earlier. This is not a great conference. Throw everything out. the rest of the playoff picture doesn't matter. It's all about Tampa Bay and Seattle. You saying the Saints are going to win? Drew Brees' arm, he can't throw 2 yards. His average pass, like traveling in the air, is like 5 yards downfield. That's not. They had to beg him to come out of retirement, to not retire this year. He's done, and he's not a winner anyway. The guy had one great year and has done nothing. Talk about a guy that has done nothing but pretty much play Madden with his career and rack up numbers for no payoff.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got a couple records, but
yeah, great. He is a guy with a bunch of records, and he's not in a single GOAT conversation. Not one. Because you need 2 rings to even be talked about. That's it. So it's great that your name's in all these record books that nobody cares about. Because it's all about, are you a winner? And he's not. Russell Wilson's a winner. He is. Tom Brady. He's old. Drew Brees is not a winner, and he's old.
Who's a better quarterback right now? You think it's Tom? I mean, I feel like you're going to say Tom Brady, Ben. I'll let you two think about that for 4 seconds. Who's a better quarterback right now, Tom Brady or old Drew Brees? Gibby?
Tom.
Cheech?
Yeah, it's Tom.
Okay, all right. I mean, hey, I'm not – look, I've said it enough. I feel like I always have to, like, apologize for trashing Drew Brees because I always do, so I don't even do it anymore. I think me and Cheech were talking. There was, like, how many passes in a row he threw just to his running back last weekend. It was –
Yeah, I was playing against Kamara, so I was paying attention to it.
Right.
And yeah, Kamara was just he was the only player on the field that Drew Brees saw. Drew Brees was looking through a straw. All he saw was Kamara.
And don't get me wrong, I like Drew Brees. I do. I think classy quarterback that represents the Shield well, but he's a guy that he wanted to be done last year. He wanted to be done. And now you look from this year, that offense, it's okay, but Michael Thomas is going crazy and losing his mind. I don't buy they're holding him out right now. I think they wanted to trade him but couldn't find the right price. And this is just a team that he's not necessarily a fan of being on. Remember in the offseason when, we had let's not get too political, but there were some things he did that a couple people on the team were not fans of his. And I just don't think he knows how to respond to that because he pretty much had to put his own beliefs aside to be the quarterback of an NFL team. Yeah. And I think he's not really playing his most enthused football this year. And I think he'll be happy to retire when the season's over and they're second place in that division.
Yeah, I agree they get second there. I think the Bucs take it. I think the Bucs win this game this weekend, which is going to be a big one. Saints beat them the first time around. So, alrighty. So we talked about the Dolphins beating the Rams. Rookie quarterbacks. We don't know a lot from Tua, but initially we have a pretty decent sample size of Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow down in Cincinnati. These three, if you had to kind of rank them or whatever you want to do, who do you think ultimately has the better career? I mean, you could, obviously Joe Burrow plays with the Cincinnati Bengals. Dolphins have something cooking up down there a little bit. Chargers can't find a way to win a game. So ultimately, at the end of their career, who do you think is the better quarterback? And you can talk about their success. You can talk about overall just the better quarterback in general. Gibby, you want to lead us off on this one?
Number 3, I'm going with Joe Burrow. I just think he gets too beat up. I mean, I hate to be a hater, but the guy is, they're going 5 wide. They're not doing what's going to work when this team, if this team ever gets good. They're not building him for the future. Like, they're just trying to win games now, which is awesome because you got to get that momentum going. But when they're good, it's going to be pounding the rock and play action and him doing that. And that's not what they're doing right now. Joe Mixon hasn't worked, stuff like that. So I think it's going to struggle whenever they switch. Number 2, I'm going Herbert. He throws a beautiful deep ball, and I was dead wrong on him in our draft episodes. I said this Oregon kid is not going to do well. Come to find out, he should have went to an SEC school instead of Oregon because he plays well in an NFL system. He's not a college quarterback. He's an NFL quarterback, but he is 38th or 37th in yards passed from 15 to 25 yards. He is terrible at the mid-throw. Can you get better at that? Absolutely. I'm going 2 and number 1 just because, and I don't have a man crush on the guy or anything, but B-Flow. I like B-Flow. I like what they're doing with them. Hey, they were up in that game, so they're like, hey, just check it down. Just, let's get out of here with a dub. Let's not force anything. He got to sit longer than the other two guys, and I think he's going to have a better team around him and a better defense than the other two guys.
Cheech?
This is tough because I'm a big Tua guy, but I think that Tua is my number 3. And I say that just because I think that his injuries are going to continue to haunt him in the NFL. He's playing against a lot of bigger dudes, playing against a lot faster dudes, and he's just going to get tore up, especially on this Miami team that isn't built to protect him. They can play smart football for so long, but there's going to be games where it's going to come down to crunch time where Tua's got to make a play and he's going to get smoked over and over again. And I don't think that he has the longevity in his body to have a solid career. Second, I'm going with Herbert. The dude's a gunslinger, and he's gonna do great things, but he's on a team that cannot win a football game. And we saw that last year with Phillip Rivers, and we thought, hey, maybe it's a Phillip Rivers-ism. But the Chargers still are not winning football games. So I think that as long as Herbert stays in LA, stays on the Chargers, he's not going to be a successful quarterback. I think eventually the Bengals are going to have a team. They found their major piece, and they've got good running backs. They've got decent wide receivers. They can build an O-line, and Joe Burrow can be on a successful Bengals team, and that's why I think he has the best career of the 3 rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll get to that, I guess. Go ahead, Bouvy.
So 3, it's Herbert. Most people in LA don't even know the Chargers are there, so I end up being one of those quarterbacks we just forget about. That I really do. I think he's going to be like Brady Quinn. Don't remember.
Oh, come on. That's disrespectful. Would you hate Notre Dame? What? Come on. Disrespectful.
Real forgettable guy. I don't think he's going to last that long in the NFL. I do think he's undersized. I think, have a couple decent plays, maybe, but that's just not a winning organization. And the Chargers are in such a bad spot right now. They left a great football town in San Diego hoping for, some big market. But LA doesn't care about football. They just don't. That's a basketball town. That's what they are. They're basketball, they're baseball, they're not football. I mean, they can support a team, but it's showing that the Chargers are kind of like the odd man out.
Yeah.
The Raiders would have been better off going there than the Chargers. But that didn't happen. So Herbert's 3 only because I think he will be forgotten about after they punch on him a little early. Next, as much as I hate to say it because I think he's got the most potential, I think Joe Burrow's number 2 because he plays for the Cincinnati Bengals. And they're awful. They're a terrible organization. I know this because my team plays them twice a year, and it's a godsend. They're terrible. The owner's terrible. They've had, they'll hang on to a subpar coach longer than they need to. They'll entertain bad apples onto the team because, they just need people. And it's easy to sell the team like you're trying to win when a guy's out there making ferocious plays. Think Vontae's perfect. It's easy to do.
Pac-Man Jones.
Hard. But at the end of the day, they're just not a winning organization. They're not. The closest they've come to turning that around was a year where they had the stars aligned with a bunch of really good talent and Carson Palmer there at the at the wheel, and it just didn't happen. So Joe Burrow, I would love to see him turn it around because the Steelers can't win forever, right? That's just they're not always going to be the best team in the AFC. I know that, but look at what Joe Burrow's coming into. He's coming in his first couple years on the tail end of a Hall of Fame career in Ben Roethlisberger, the rise of Lamar Jackson, and 2 phenomenal defenses that he has to play 4 times a year. And on that other defense in the division, you got Myles Garrett, who is an absolute monster. He is a lion. And as much as I hate him as a Steelers fan, you respect him as a player because he's just a phenomenal
Well, I mean,
so
done some disrespectful things. So we'll put that out. Now, he probably belongs on the Bengals, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I look at what the situation he's in, and that's going to really hold him back. I would have loved to see Joe Burrow go somewhere else, like San Francisco, where I think he could have been amazing. And then you get to Tua. Tua's in a place where they are begging for a quarterback in Miami, where if you have a good quarterback, you can attract talent down there because it's Miami. I think Tua ends up being a very, very good quarterback. Super Bowl winner? Don't know. But I do think he'll have the best career.
Nice. So all of you make great points, obviously. But I'm going to have to go with Tua as my number 3. Not sure this lefty works out down there. Cheech mentioned the injuries, and that's just a big one for me. I don't know if that's going to be great for him going forward. It's hard. Like, we have no context really of what he can be. So that's pretty much why he's my number 3 right now. Talk to me at the end of the season. Maybe I change my mind. I'm going Justin Herbert, number 2. I think he's going to – Brady Quinn, I mean, come on. I'm saying I think he has a good career, and it's unfortunate that these quarterbacks, especially Justin Herbert and Joey Burrow, are in these situations. It's unfortunate for them because, I mean, history says like these teams know how to lose games. But I think he does well in there. Gibby said, he throws a beautiful deep ball. He's making dudes with names. Guyton, Charger fans didn't know who Guyton was, and he's out there just catching fly routes. It's kind of exciting watching him play because, like Gibby said, I was not a believer in him either coming out of Oregon. Just didn't think that he had it. I think he's tough enough. I think he's physical enough, and he has the right amount. Joey Burrow and Herbert kind of like they're very similar in the way they play when it comes to like their size, and they know when to run at this point in their career. They're able to run, I should say, because you have to be able to escape the pocket in today's NFL. And they both can do that just enough. My number 1, Joe Burrow, man. We've seen the Bengals over the past. We've seen them make the playoffs now, okay? They have talent. I like their wide receiver core. Even when A.J. Green gets out of town, I like their wide receiver core a lot. Joe Mixon's going to be there for a few years. If they can just draft, they need an O-line. They need a D-line now that Dunlap's out. Geno Atkins is not going to be there. They need linebackers, D linemen, and they need a lot. But they have the pieces that are gonna matter to score points, and I think that's huge when they're playing the Ravens, when they're playing the Steelers. They're gonna be able to not be as bad as they have been, and I really like what I've seen with Joe Burrow. I've bet the Bengals each week, almost every week this week, and they've been, besides that Ravens game, it's been a 1-possession game every single game. They know, and you talked about winners. Joe Burrow is a winner. He wants to win football games regardless, and I just like what I see from them. Joe Burrow, they're going to figure it out in Cincinnati, put the pieces together, and he's going to have a decent career, and I like him better than the other two. So.
I think that we missed one rookie, though. Jalen Hurts has the best career of them all when he takes over in Philadelphia.
That's what I was going to end with. Old Ben DiNucci up in Dallas. Look out. Pittsburgh guy. They play the Steelers this week. That spread, I forgot, what was it, like 13 and a half? Yeah. I feel like that was pretty favorable for Dallas because I thought it was going to be like 24. So – oh, it's funny. Well, those are our, rankings for those rookie quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, it's not gonna. We'll see what happens up there.
Carson Wentz is gonna get replaced eventually.
He's awful.
We never know what we're gonna get from Carson Wentz. We'll just hit on the trade deadline and then pick the Saints-Bucs games this week, and then we'll wrap it up. So, trade deadline, obviously not a lot of action. Avery Williamson, linebacker for the Jets, goes from completely defeated and not knowing what it looks like and feels like to wake up Sunday morning and win football games to playing for an undefeated team and your Pittsburgh Steelers down there. So he's got to be feeling good. He's the biggest winner of this trade deadline, I'd say.
Yeah. Easy.
We had him, and Gibby talked about the linebacker, Alexander, getting out of San Francisco, going to New Orleans. And then what's the other one? I forget.
Kevin King to the Titans.
Oh, Desmond King. Yeah, Desmond King going from a great cornerback, by the way. Still like 25, 26 years old. Got some good years left in him. That was a big one because the Chargers secondary was so good pre-Desmond King trade and pre-Derwin James getting hurt every year. So big hit for them. You guys have any thoughts on the trade deadline?
I'm surprised that the Titans got a corner and not a pass rusher. This team cannot get after the quarterback, and I don't care how good your secondary is. Like, they can only cover for so long.
Yeah, I mean, they lost Logan Ryan, too, last year. So,
yeah, honestly, the Steelers, good job by the Steelers. Gave up a 5th-round pick for Williamson. The Jets get fleeced in every single deal. I don't know. They just suck. So congrats on getting a linebacker. He's not as good as Devin Bush, but I hope that he serves you well.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised they got him for a 5th, swapping a 5th and a 7th. You know what I mean? Because we got a 7th rounder out of it. I mean, 7th rounders, you never know. You might catch a decent practice squad guy that helps the team. But how can you not like the Avery Williamson pick? I mean, the Steelers just got shredded on the ground. Robert Spillane hasn't been bad. He had, a really great game against Derrick Henry. But they got shredded on the run against the Ravens. Now, I think it's because the multifaceted rushing attack they have where it can come from anywhere, so you can't really single out on a gap like you can with most teams. But depth at linebacker is something that has plagued the Steelers in the very recent past when Ryan Shazier went out. So to see them go out and get a guy cheap who is a good NFL player. I mean, he is. He's not bad. He was one of the bright spots on that team. How can you not like that pickup by the Steelers? And that's not me saying it as a Steelers guy. That's you look at the situation they just came from. A good defense got better and addressed an issue that presented itself right now. So I like the pickup.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be excited. I mean, Jesus. I mean, the dude, he's been pretty good up in New York. I think. Yeah. I don't really know.
He's a good linebacker. Yeah.
And it
hurt to lose.
Yeah. And you're talking about the Steelers, a team who realizes, okay, we can freaking win a Super Bowl this year. Let's make sure we plug those holes. Yeah. As opposed to the loser of the trade deadline, the Packers, who were in the NFC Championship last year. They do nothing. So
they hate Aaron Rodgers. I don't. Why? Yeah. It's so unfair. It's unfair to watch as a guy that enjoys football and enjoys good quarterback play. Mm-hmm. They're just doing him a total disservice.
Yep. All right, Saints Bucs this weekend. Who you all got in this one? Gibby, what do you think?
We talking straight up?
We can do that, and if you have a lock or two of the week, we can dial in on that too.
Okay, so I think I'm going to go with the Saints to win it just because all the talk I've been talking about Tom Brady. Locks of the week, go ahead and hammer Clemson at -5.5. Their backup quarterback is the next Cam Newton, the good Cam Newton. The guy's big and physical, and a week with that practice, 5.5 is going to be absolutely nothing to cover. I guess Vegas didn't learn their lesson about Pittsburgh, only giving them 13.5. I easily see them beating the Cowboys by 2 touchdowns. And I also like the Patriots -7 against the Jets.
Yeah, nice. All right, Mr. Ben, do you have any thoughts on Saints Bucs first of all, straight up, and then if you have any locks of the week or any bets that you're willing to share with us, let us know.
I don't even have to go straight up. It's going to be Bucs by 10. I did there. Bucs by 10. I just feel it. I feel that Tom Brady recognizes what happens in that first game. Now they have a very, very dynamic piece in Antonio Brown. I think they use him immediately. And if he's on the field for 10 plays, they're going to be 10 electric plays. They just are, because he's that damn good. And if you saw him, if you see the way he showed up, he's been working out. He hasn't just been sitting on his ass. He's been working with elite quarterbacks too. So I just see a statement game. That's what I see. And I called the last statement game. I've been iffy on my picks. And the dogs were barking last week. Underdogs hit last week pretty hard. It was a rough week. Yeah, so I kind of got beat up the last 2 weeks. But I've hit on some statement game picks. I called the Cardinals beating the Seahawks straight up. I've called some – I see this being a statement game where Tom Brady establishes, hey, I'm the big dick in the division. Out of the way. You're on the train tracks to my Super Bowl run. So I look for the Bucs to win by 10 at least, and a lock. this hurts to say.
Oh,
The Dallas Cowboys will cover the spread.
Oh,
What?
really?
The
Ooh.
Pittsburgh Steelers, all my life, have made a habit of losing to really bad teams in great years. They have. They lost to the expansion Houston Texans one year, where they were a great team. They were a great team that year. They had the number one defense in all of football. Very similar to this year. I see the Cowboys won't win this game, but I see them covering the spread.
wow. That's the most surprising thing we've ever heard on this show, coming from a big Pittsburgh guy. But you know your team better than most. So
I know they owe us one game. They owe us one game where they were really bad. And I'm really hoping they don't lose to the Cowboys because I despise the Dallas Cowboys. I just them with the fire of 1,000 suns. But I don't see them losing, but I see this game being closer than it should be. They'll cover the spread.
nice. All right. Well, that's some great intel for people who are not on that inside bubble. So thank you for that. Cheech, you got anything for first Saints, Bucs, and then bets?
All right, so I have to disagree. These Saints are going to beat the Bucs. Drew Brees is just gonna show Tom Brady that he's the old man and he's not to be messed with. Other than that, my locks for the week: Titans are gonna just rip up the Bears. The Titans need to prove themselves, and I think that the Titans are going to prove themselves this week because they've had a couple bad weeks. And then the Jets are going to beat the Patriots this week.
Let's go! Finally,
I'm going with it. The Jets are beating the Patriots this week.
So you're gonna put those bets in?
Those are going to be on my pick'ems this week. I guarantee my pick'ems this week will reflect that the Titans beat the Bears, the Saints beat the Bucs, and the Jets beat the Pats.
Wow, you think the Jets are going to win straight up?
They're going to win straight up. Yeah, the Jets are going to win straight up. This is going to be their first one of the season.
Look. So I mean, every week Gibby and Cheech have gone against the Jets. Have been getting some astronomical numbers, like 20 points, and I find and it's been to my avail the past few. Like I keep hammering the Jets. I don't know why. But the number just gets too sexy for me, and I can't refuse. But this one is not that much. What is it, 7? Yeah. 7 points? That's crazy. So
the Jets are just going to take the win. Look, and here's why. Management just put out an article this week about how Adam Gase is the guy and Sam Darnold is the guy. And I'm just trying to find the drugs that they're on. So maybe I'm on them. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But the Jets are going to beat the Pats this week.
Jesus.
I'm trying my best to look around this room and find a prop to bring in to just show how terrible of a pick that is. The Jets are awful.
They're terrible. They're a horrible football team. The Jets are a god-awful football team. But any given Sunday.
If the Jets win, I will shave my Bill Cowher mustache on this podcast.
I like it.
Nice. Perfect. Love that. All right. So Bucs and Saints. I got the Bucs winning this. I feel like kind of like what he was saying. Tom Brady realizes last week was a kind of a hiccup. They were probably looking ahead a little bit and knowing they're facing the Saints, and I think they put everything in, especially after losing to them already, and they win this game. And that's actually one of my locks of the week. So lock it in. Saints. What is it? Plus 4.5 for the Saints. So yeah, they win by a touchdown easily. That's one of them, and I'm also gonna go with the Patriots just because the Jets have done me dirty. I keep picking them. I don't know why. And I see 7 points, and I'm going with it. I just feel like Bill Belichick, and these are division. You want to bet? All right, nosebleed bet. This is with the spread. 7 points.
Spread. All right, 7 points with the spread.
All right, you heard it here. Can't wait for that. $50, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah. That's another one of my locks, and I also like the Minnesota Vikings over the Detroit Lions -4. I just feel like the Dalvin Cook is cooking right now, and
Matty Snapback is out.
Matty Snapback, there it is. He's out with COVID. Kenny Galladay not going to play this week. If they're only getting 4 points right now, you need to lock it in. I don't know who's playing quarterback, David Blau or whatever his name is, and then they have that other dude, I don't know. But if they're only -4, yeah, that's a lock for me. Even if I think I'd go up to as high as 6.5, and I would lock that in. So yeah, those are my 3 locks because I feel like the Vikings might have found something. Just I'm not sure if that offensive line is good or Dalvin Cook is that good or the Packers are just that bad. I'm not sure where it is, but when Dalvin Cook has played, he has produced this year. He has dude's on he won me a game last week in our league. I think he put up 54 points. And by the way, I do play you this week, Mr. Ben. So look out for Dalvin Cook to tear you a new one.
My team's awful.
Mine is 2-6, dude. So
awful.
Yeah, so those are our locks of the week. Do you guys have any final thoughts, any other topics you want to hit on right before we go? Gibby, Cheech, anybody?
Stop disrespecting the Chiefs at number 2 in the power rankings. They're Super Bowl champs. They had a hiccup in the division. They're dancing on the sideline. They're doing all that. This is the team. This is the number 1 team in the NFL.
So for those who don't know, Gibby is the most humble guy I've ever met. And he's never, ever, ever once in his life been like, the Chiefs are the best team. He's never said that as he points to his Steelers helmet down there. But hey, I'm glad you're finally living up. Like your Chiefs are Super Bowl champs. You need to respect that. You need to just soak and live in that moment because they are fucking good. And yeah, dude's giving piggyback rides and stuff like that, jumping up into 20 rows in the crowd. So you like the Chiefs number 1 in the power rankings. Ben, how you feel about that?
I don't think I need to feel anything about it because the Steelers are 7-0. Take your piggyback ride all the way up to second because that's where he falls off his back. I understand. The Chiefs are a good team. Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. The Pittsburgh Steelers are built to beat that team. I pray. I go to sleep every night with my Steelers PJs with my Steelers nightcap on. I drink out of my Steelers mug, and I look at my picture of Bill Carr on the wall, and I say, please, deliver the Carr power. We need to give us the Chiefs in the playoffs because I see the Pittsburgh Steelers winning by 14 points.
Oh, my God.
He said Carr power. All right. All right. That's awesome.
We're on the 7, baby. I'm at the jacket.
Getting 7 Super Bowl rings. All right. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Make sure you all subscribe to our channel or whatever. Follow us on Spotify if you feel like it. Yeah, this is a nosebleed perspective. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.